We started Culturally Speaking to indulge our curiosity about the way others live and a desire to inspire conversations about how we have far more in common than we realise.
Hey everyone, welcome back. How are you doing, Janice?
Good. I think as we're recording this, we're coming to the end of the week and I just can't wait for the weekend.
You do realise it's like only Thursday.
Close enough. Once we're past hump day, it's close enough.
You know, I said happy hump day to somebody yesterday and they like totally didn't get it. I was like, is this just passe now?
I don't know. I still hear people say it. So it can still be relevant on this podcast.
Okay. So I did a thing today. I went to get some photos taken for a trip that I'm going on because I need, passport style photos. I should say it's not my passport. I've done that. I no longer now have the EU passport. I have to have the British one. Anyway, but it was so tragic. I don't think I've ever looked worse in a photo that's going to stay on a piece of identity forever. But I really liked my passport one. I have to say, I feel like it captured me well, and I feel like it's going to stand the test of time because you don't change it that often, really, do you?
It's 10 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching some videos of people, I think in America, doing passport makeup, passport photo makeup.
Yeah.
Actually, it might not be passport. I think it's just a driver's license because they're wild. They are full-on glam makeup. And I'm pretty sure we're not allowed to do that here.
So I think if it changes your appearance to the point of where you're unrecognizable without it, but I mean, that's a very gray area, right? Because it's okay, so today I put on some mascara. Do my eyelashes normally look like that? No, obviously not. But did I do it for the photo? Absolutely.
You do have nice lashes. You do have nice natural lashes.
But yeah, I mean, do you like your identity or passport photos for your driving license?
So my old passport, which thank God I renewed a few years ago, was terrible to the point where every time, so when I enter Hong Kong, I actually can use my Hong Kong ID card, and we'll come to that later. But when I leave, it's still a passport. And obviously, when I come back to the UK, I have to come in with my passport. Before I renewed it, I got stopped every single time. And I get a range of comments from just being perplexed, is this you? To taking the piss, asking, have I had something done? Because I just don't look like myself in that picture. And I was, 17, I guess, maybe in that picture.
And we change, don't we? I mean, I say that. My high school photos look the ones you get taken at school, your school photographs. I could probably use one of those as one of my headshots at work, and it'd be fun.
My face has changed so much. I can understand. I understand the comments about getting things done and all of that. Not particularly kind, but I do get that. And recently I had my Hong Kong ID renewed, and I really like the system there. Obviously in Hong Kong, we use our IDs for identification, right? Whereas here in the UK, we've got a driver's license and also a passport. And again, my old photo was terrible. And the picture is in black and white, which complicates things. Which is why I mentioned the whole makeup thing, because I actually went and looked at some Asian versions of those makeups. And I did a little bit of makeup. So no waterline eyeliner at all. A little bit mascara. I did contour a little bit because usually you have that great big flash. If you go for snappy snaps, it washes you out. Yeah. And then you're all shiny in the weirdest places and everything looks flat. So I did contour a little bit and put some, pressed powder for the shine.
Did you do lips? Because you don't wear lipstick normally, do you?
No, I just use lip balm.
Because I think that's one of the things. I don't think you're allowed really bright lips.
No, because I think if you put like a really dark lipstick, it can change the shape of your lips.
Yeah.
And they must use identification, like where your corners start, where your cupid's bow is. So anyway, this is the best photo I've ever taken for any official document. When I got there, the lady was super patient, sat down. It's all very simple because I'm just renewing mine, and they just verify your fingerprints, because that's how that's the biometric that Hong Kong government stores. And then she even said to me, oh, a lot of girls, you know, especially in Asia, they don't like that the faces are quite round. So if you want to, you can pull some strands down, like face framing strands. And she took my picture 3 times, and each time she would say, oh, maybe you want to, like, you know, look down a little bit, that angle's better. And she was like a professional photographer. And
so you had
it
a
was
woman,
the best.
I had a man. And it's interesting you said about hair, because I originally like wanted my hair, like, because, you know, I wear it quite long and it's like normally in my face.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I've got to be able to see your ears. So like he's like, you know, I need to be able to see your ears for this. So I had to look like this.
That's weird, isn't it? Because that's what I thought. So I had my hair like kind of slicked back and like not tied, but I had it brushed and behind my ears. And she actually said, oh, you can put it, you know, in front to frame your face. And I showed you off screen, right, that I actually I look good in this picture, which is just...
You look really cute. You do look really cute, which segues quite nicely to what we're talking about today, because I mean, a photo over a decade, fashion, that's what I was thinking about. Does fashion change? And that's what we're talking about today, British fashion, because I think it's fair to say, like, we are a fashion capital of the world. Like, London is a fashion capital of the world, certainly. I mean, London Fashion Week, which is, I mean, we're in the middle of Fashion Week, right? We're in the middle of autumn, winter fashion weeks. And there are 4 big ones, obviously. So London, Paris, Milan, and New York. And have you ever been to a fashion show?
I think I must have been to, you know, not the big names, not the biggest names, but I think I've been to something in London Fashion Week, possibly a few years ago.
I think what I was really like astounded by was everyone thinks of Fashion Week as like just the designers, like the main designers that are well known, and like the models that walk. But there's a whole thing after Fashion Week, which is probably like what we might have been to, and I certainly have attended it. That's like the London Fashion Festival, which is like a buying frenzy, basically, for everyone. But there's also so many like auxiliary events. Like, there's always so many parties, so many pop-ups, so many other designers that come into town. And I think London in itself has got quite a like a tradition of being quite innovative. So they were like the first fashion weeks to have like broadcast the shows online.
Really?
Like, I don't know if you remember, there was basically back in 2010. So to go to Fashion Week is like considered like I mean, it's only reserved for people that are invited. Yeah, right. You have to have a ticket. Yeah, exactly. But to make it more accessible to the lay person, they then started to broadcast the shows. And like now, obviously, with the advent of social media and all of the various publishing channels, you can't imagine a show not being streamed. Like, it's instantaneous, our kind of access to it. But yeah, London was the first of the major fashion weeks to stream it. I think we always focus on like women's fashion, but there's also men's fashion, which I thought was kind of a nice thing. But also it was the first fashion week to ban fur.
Really?
Because of the protests by people.
What are your thoughts on fur?
Okay, well, anyone who knows me, in fact, I think we've even posted a photo of this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So I'll like go straight to, I don't wear real fur. I before anyone comes at me and hates on me. I don't wear real fur. But I do love a bit of faux fur. And so do you, I think. There's a ridiculous photo of us where we've both got, like, you've got your, this coat literally makes you look like a gangster's mole. I'm not joking. And I look like something out of Monsters, Inc. I could be like Sully's twin, but it's not blue. I did actually find a blue version of that coat, by the way, in Anthropology.
I think you should get it.
That was great. So yeah, no, I do love a ridiculous outfit in general, but yeah, a bit of faux fur. Also, we're coming into the season, so all my faux fur is going to come out.
It's not quite cold enough yet, but I agree. I don't personally own any real fur, but I do like a bit of faux fur. I think it adds glamour to any outfit. Just
so, and also, do you know the number of people that want to then touch it? Do you get people that stroke you?
Yes, because you know that ridiculous mobster faux fur coat I've got, it is very soft.
Yes.
But I'm not that keen on people coming up to touch me, if I'm honest.
Neither am I, but like I think people just like to pet it, don't they? It's
very snuggly.
Yes, exactly. But no, the fur thing actually kind of brings me on to, like, I guess the way the attitude to fashion has changed, because, like, if you imagine back in the day, fur was considered like the must-have. Like, there was an era where a woman was judged actively on the furs that she owned, and like it was a status thing, it was an elite thing, and now people choose it as like a marker of, oh, it's fallen out of fashion.
It's Cruella.
Yeah. And I don't know if it'll ever come back around, because they say fashion is always cyclical, but that doesn't feel particularly cyclical to me. It feels like the world has moved on.
Some things just don't age well, I think.
No, I don't think they do at all.
It's I think sorry, I was gonna say it's like is it the noughties, or the noughties, when we would have been teenagers, you know, the extremely low-waisted jeans.
Yes.
I hope that doesn't come back. I don't have the body confidence for it.
But we're in the 90s revival, right? And have been for a few years.
I have seen, actually, in fact, just today, when I went out to the shop, I saw a lot of, you know, the purple, the pink, the tracksuits coming back. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm on board with it.
It was interesting because I was reading up about, like, the vibe and fashion vibes, and like street fashion versus high fashion. So like London is always known for being quite, like, I mean, as a creative industry, like, it pushes boundaries, and it's supposed to be quite evocative, like the imagination runs wild, and it's also all about kind of being outrageous, and like we lean into that in our street.
I think so. Yeah.
And when I think about like British designers over the decades, it's kind of true, right? Like the swinging 60s of like Mary Quant, and like the mini skirt, the mini micro mini skirts. I feel like we would have loved the 60s.
I think that aesthetic suited us, because we're all about the legs.
Yes, and like you do great flicks with like your makeup, like your cat eyes, the hair. Like I love the hair.
You would have had great, because you've got really good volume with your hair, actually.
I think I would have really enjoyed it.
And your big earrings.
Yes, like my big, that would have been great. I don't know if I'd have been into necessarily like all of the color.
I'll remind you about the color of your faux fur coat.
Okay, but I wore that with an all black outfit. I'd just like to clarify. But then you get like the likes of like Vivienne Westwood, like the punk, the safety pins, the tartan.
That's a hard one to navigate, you know. So I don't know if I ever had any Vivienne stuff. I don't think so. It's just not my look.
I was really surprised that you wore tartan. Like the one time you turned up in this outfit, which was very cute, by the way, but I didn't know that tartan was a thing for you.
Is that the pinafore dress?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a tartan skirt as well.
But it reminds me too much of like school uniform for me, which is why I don't really wear it.
Yeah, do you remember when I messaged you when I sent you my outfit pic and I said I look like I walked out of Clueless?
Yeah.
I quite like it. I think for work it's okay. With black tights, usually a cream top. But did you know, I read today actually that Virgin Atlantic or Virgin Air, what am I talking about?
The airline.
Yes, the airline. They now have Vivienne Westwood designed uniforms.
Why am I not surprised?
I mean, it's a very British brand overall, isn't it? So
I was going to say Virgin plus British, plus Vivienne Westwood. You couldn't get more
yeah.
British, really, could you?
Have you worn any Westwood?
No, not
it's not really our look, is it? We're not punk at all.
Do you know, to me, Vivienne Westwood will forever be Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah.
That I've never seen a brand and a celebrity so closely entwined and aligned in vision.
She's a classic, really good example, I think, of the forwardness of British fashion.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, right? It's a look.
Yeah, I agree. And I think going back to that point of forwardness, the other one that comes to mind as we were talking about Ferg, Stella McCartney banning all leather, silk, fur from her collection because they're all about. I mean, I believe, I don't hold me to it, but I believe everything in her line tries to be as sustainable and eco-friendly as possible. I think that extends to the sourcing as well as materials.
That's another brand that I don't own anything from. Because you know me, I'm either the luxurious side of things or I'm athleisure.
Also, I think her aesthetic is more, it blurs the line of feminine and masculine. So there's a lot of silhouettes and shapes that aren't super fitted, which is again not
and everybody who knows me, I only wear fitted clothes. Unless it's a pair of joggers. But even then they have to be, skinny fit and pretty tailored. I don't wear anything that's flowy. I think it's so interesting. We have completely opposite silhouettes.
Yes. I mean, yeah, because I go with a lot of flow, don't I? I like a lot of movement.
And talking about designers, I think we have to talk about Burberry.
Of course.
And Paul Smith.
Yes.
Actually, so many of these brands are British. I haven't even thought about it.
I know, because when we were talking about this episode and planning it, you were like, what is there to say? I'm like, hello, all of the great British designers.
What other brands are there?
Let's have a look. I'm gonna do a little bit of a Christopher Kane, Roxander Illich, Erdem, Julie McDonald, Alexander McQueen. How could we forget him?
Of course.
I mean, there's the archetype.
There's a hell lot of brands that I didn't realize were British.
Go on, which one surprised you?
I don't know. I guess now I'm looking at a list of them. I didn't know All Saints was British.
Yes.
I didn't know Anne Summers was British. Although, I mean,
that's
it's
not a
Anne
designer.
Summers. Okay, I guess, now it makes sense to me. Basically, a lot of brands that I would shop from are actually British.
Interesting.
Like Barber. Shall we tell people about the time we bought child-size clothes from Barber?
I own this. Everybody knows me. So probably this does translate in the video, but and you can probably see the difference. I'm fairly small, reasonably petite. And adult clothing just sometimes doesn't quite work properly because it's not. And with something you can get it tailored. With a Barber coat, it's a little bit harder. And so I turned Janice onto the fact that sometimes children's clothing just works far better. And she's never looked back.
we did find out something interesting. So I'm a little bit taller than you, I think. We went to try on some Barber jackets, and while the sleeves and the body, everything worked fine, we confirmed that I had a much longer neck.
It was actually hilarious.
So the hood doesn't quite, it does, but it's just not very comfortable.
Honestly, it was like an ostrich, like poking out. It was great. Yeah, no, that was our. But you know, I have both. I have adult and child versions for different things, but sometimes
I do like Barber. I'm thinking of getting myself another jacket from there, but maybe a waxed one instead.
So I'm all about the waxed.
It's not super warm though, like when it's proper cold.
No, but that's why I have the lining.
Mm.
And I layer it.
Actually, let me segue into a brand I definitely highly recommend and I wear all the time, which is Gymshark. Did people know that Gymshark is British? And they had very humble beginnings.
Huh.
No, they had very humble beginnings. And I think this was founded in 2012. And it was just some guy who set it up when they were at university. And look at it now.
That bedroom idea that you had with a couple of friends on the back of a paper napkin.
What other brands do you want to talk about? Burberry, I mentioned.
You did. So what do you think about where Burberry's gone from like what it used to be in the early 2000s to where it is now?
I don't know where has it gone? Like for me personally, I don't own that much from Burberry. I've got my trench, although I did get it in a slightly golden version, so not the typical color. And I have a couple of jumpers and that's it. I don't find that Burberry clothes suit me very much because they're quite boxy. Again, not fitted.
Do you remember when Burberry used to be associated with like the head to toe check pattern, every item possible, and it was seen as, dare I say, a little bit low rent?
Oh, you mean what the chavs wear?
Yeah. And it went from that to a complete, he did a 180, right? And it involved some very savvy marketing, taking it away from, you know, what it had been associated with to be going back to that kind of stylish roots, rooting it in the Mac, putting a lot of focus on celebrities. Do you remember Cara Delevingne? Eddie Redmayne? Oh, be still. And, you know, they used to pack out their front row with the who's who of anyone, right? And yeah, I think there's been such a turnaround on that brand. Angela Andress was, you know, an institutional part of that brand for so long. And it's gone through a different iteration now, but I think it's also had backlash, right? They were them, and yeah, I think it was Burberry that was accused of burning stock.
I didn't know about that.
So, and this is not unusual, by the way. I think it happens with other fashion houses. It just, they happen to cop bad press, but to keep the exclusivity of a brand at the end of a season, whatever's not sold and whatever has not been marked to go to an outlet or to, you know, to be sold in another way, they have to destroy. But obviously you're then, you know, the argument is it's not very green, naturally, it's a waste of resource, you know, could that be used better? But in order to not dilute the value of the brand, that's what they do. And I mean, I think it's sad, but then equally, I mean, I certainly don't shop new season Burberry personally, but I guess there is a cachet with wanting that season, right? And not.
That's something that I never understood. Like, I honestly don't care if it's this season or last season. If it looks nice, it looks nice. I've got jumpers from like 4 years ago that still look great and I will happily wear them.
I think, and you and I are very similar in that sense, in that, like, I always tell you I try and curate a wardrobe that will sort of last. I'm more interested in it.
I think both of us wear quite a lasting first of all, as you can see today, not a lot of pattern. So I think we tend to buy clothes that are good for mixing and matching and basically will just last. I mean, every winter, as it's coming into jumper season, I'm tempted to buy a new jumper, and I have to stop myself because it's not like I physically changed enough to get new ones. So yeah, I think we're both quite good on that. We wear quite not plain in that sense, but you know.
I think as well, with the rise of circular fashion and the rise of rental platforms on a scale which we've not, I mean, I can understand people that have always shared clothes. Like, we don't have sisters, so you and I don't particularly,
Unfortunately.
No. So we don't particularly swap or share, but I think, I can imagine if I had grown up with one, maybe there'd be more sharing. And I certainly steal like accessories from my mum, and I say steal, not borrow, because they rarely go back. But, you know, I think that's always been an informal thing. But now, do you remember when, like, there's been some very famous people that have worn rented dresses off platforms that have come to prominence in the last couple of years, and the one that comes to mind, just because it was, you know, a media thing, was Carrie Johnson, Boris Johnson's wife, who wore a rented wardrobe throughout his time in office, including her wedding dress.
I mean, I don't think I'd mind that. Let me think about that statement. Yeah, I don't think I'd mind that, except you'd have to be so careful.
I wonder what happens. Could you remember that episode of, did you ever watch The Hills?
No.
Oh. So LC, did you watch Laguna Beach?
I know who they are.
Yeah. So she borrowed, obviously they all worked in fashion as interns. And she went to Paris and she borrowed a dress from I assume from a designer, and, you know, did something to it to like change it, went out on a date, and then when she got home, the dress had a mark on it, and not like something you could disguise, like obviously. But that's when, like, what do you do?
I don't know. I imagine you just have to pay for it, or pay for it to be cleaned.
And if it can't be cleaned, you just have to pay for the whole thing.
I think so. Because actually, I'm not sure where you would do that here, but I know that in Hong Kong, it's been a thing for many, many years now. You've got these shops, you can go in person to have a look as well. Basically, you buy secondhand, third hand, but like luxury handbags.
Yes.
Which I think is a good idea. I mean, I've got some.
There are some in London.
Yeah. But I've got handbags that I don't want to throw away, because it's not like they're broken or anything, but I just simply am not using them anymore. So I'd happily rent these out if anyone's interested.
Well, the rise of that, I think, is very interesting. But I guess coming back to, British fashion, British models. For a small island, we produce a hell of a lot of models.
Kate Moss, classic.
Naomi. All the supers, right?
Actually, you're right. You're right. A lot of, like, back in that era, the first generation of supermodels.
Twiggy.
She's a look.
Iconic.
Yeah.
And then, like, even the modern ones, right? Cara.
I mean, Rosie she's going through some stuff now, I believe.
I know. But I mean, she came from Rosie Huntington-Whiteley.
She's gorgeous. It's just, the world is not fair sometimes. And I was thinking, do you know who's kind of not up and coming, but she became a designer?
Yes.
Victoria Beckham.
Of course.
Amazing style. And actually, I remember a couple of times when I was in Selfridges and walked past where, you know, her clothes are displayed.
Yeah.
I actually feel like I can get on board with that aesthetic, because it's all very like form-fitting and sharp lines, but I never found a reason to pay that much for a dress, basically.
She also makes clothes for people with long torsos, and as we both know, I have no torso. So.
Correct. So I found that to be a problem. Number one, with skirts as well as dresses, everything comes up short. because we've had this discussion, like high-waisted things are like basically just under our boobs. It's not a good look. And there are a few times where I put something on to go to work with, and I thought I might have problems sitting down in this, so I need to change. So the problems of having a short body, as we've experienced.
But well, this is an interesting one. You talked about body and like we have different kind of makeups, dynamics, whatever. British beauty standards.
Tell me.
So I found the UK's ideal body image has thinner legs and arms, as well as a flatter stomach. Women with fuller lips, a slimmer face, larger eyes, and higher cheekbones are considered as being more attractive, and men with more rugged and masculine faces are again seen as being much more attractive.
So that's Rosie Huntington-Whiteley and Jason Statham, basically.
In a nutshell, it's the British, like the English Rose, isn't it? Rosie, okay. Keira Knightley, Emma Watson.
Keira Knightley doesn't have full lips.
No, but she has the cheekbones. I mean, it's all up here. It's like, I can't even do it, but it's all
okay. I think neck up, we're done. Yeah, but we have got slim arms and legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't sound very sure.
But here's the thing, I found this really funny, and you might laugh, right? Considering our complexions. The UK's obsession with tanning. Liverpool is the most tanned city, with over 60% of women applying self-tan at least 5 times a month. 5 times a month. There's not even 5 weeks in most months. So that means you're tanning twice a week.
I actually used to know someone who did it every day. And you've never had a spray tan, right?
Shockingly, no. I've never had a spray tan.
So I've had it done before.
No, I know.
And it's a hilarious experience. So this was my first time, like quite a few years ago. And so you walk in, it's pretty chilled actually, and you don't feel self-conscious. And I think, sorry if there are any guys listening to this, but for any women out there, once you're at a certain age, you've done things like, you know, get a smear test or get laser hair removal.
Why did you apologize to the men out there listening?
Just in case, I don't know, they might not want to hear about smear tests.
Okay. Well,
but do them.
I say, you know, they save lives.
Exactly. Anyway, so you go in, and I remember this lady, like she's very nice actually, because I told her it was my first time, I didn't know what to expect. And she said, do you want to look like you've been in the sun for an afternoon, or you've been on holiday somewhere sunny for a couple of weeks, or you've gone and moved there?
What did you go with?
The last one, obviously.
You moved there?
Yeah, because, and I'll tell you why.
You didn't think, let me go gradual and build. You thought, let me go full. Okay.
Because in my experience, because of our complexion, I think it needs to be quite strong to give me that olive tan. Otherwise, I'll just look kind of like golden.
Question. Do you know how, like, when you do your makeup, the shades are adjusted to you? Do they adjust the spray tan shade to your complexion? No. Or is it just one generic? Oh, okay. In my head, I don't know. I thought they would adjust it. I don't know why.
I mean, it would be great if they did. I mean, if you went to super luxurious places, maybe they do, but from my understanding, the color that you see anyway, it's just a guide color, right? You wash that off, which is why in the summer in the UK you just see orange people everywhere, like you can tell. And I think unfortunately when you put spray tan on like Caucasian skin, it does look, you can tell that it's fake, whereas we can get away with a bit of self tanner, I think, because we have a lot more red in our skin tone. And so anyway, back to the spray tan. So went for the darkest one because I knew it wouldn't come out very well anyway. It's very hard for my skin to tan, unfortunately. So you go to the booth and they give you those, like, you know, disposable pants. Like, I think it's a thong.
Does that leave a mark?
So completely up to you. Some people like the look of having been on a holiday, so they actually wear a bikini to get their spray tan, so it looks like a bikini tan. I just whipped everything off, and I think that the girl was surprised, and I was like, sorry, didn't know what I was expecting, so I just whipped everything off. And so they start with basically, you know, the easy bits, like they spray you from the front, from the back, and then you start doing these like weird, like acrobatic movements because they need to get every nook and cranny.
Of course.
So then they asked you to, like, you know, raise one arm and put the other down, or they will ask you to raise both arms up, but then obviously shut your eyes, nose, mouth, so they spray you from the front. Yeah, so you end up posing kind of like Egyptian paintings, you know, those angles, so they get everything. And then I remember I was just laughing so much because I had no idea what to expect, and it was just very funny. But it turned out well. There was no streaks, nothing.
What do you do with your hair? Do
they give you a cap.
Okay,
Yeah,
that would be my.
like
I love how that's my concern.
And actually, they did say, "Do you want me to spray your face or not?" And I kind of thought, why wouldn't I? Because
wow, I don't know why would you? I guess not, because in case
the only time I think that's relevant is if you are going into bodybuilding competitions where you only need it dark neck down to show definition. Because if you go look at pictures or videos, the ladies always have their faces made up, but their faces are usually their natural color.
Oh, but they normally say it should all match, right?
I know. Anyway, I said yes, but it was good. Although I don't think it only really lasts like a week or so. So I'm, you know, big respect to these people who do it twice a week. It's
but
a lot of effort.
Makes more sense about the women in Liverpool. Yeah, now you're saying it does make more sense.
What do you mean?
Why they get it done 5 times a month?
Yeah, because it only lasts a week.
God, that's a lot of upkeep.
I mean, it's not expensive actually, but it's a lot of effort because once you've had it done, obviously you can't dry to 100% before you leave the shop because, you know, they have other people coming. So you need to wear like something that's black and loose fitting and kind of gingerly go home, hoping that you haven't, you know, streaked anything. And then once you get home, you need to wait 8 hours for it to develop.
I always worry about the sheets.
So there is a solution for people like you. They've now come up with a fake tan thing.
To clarify, Janice is talking about the fact that, I mean, I'm a purist.
Value your beddings.
And it's all white.
Yeah. So there is now a product for this specifically. Basically imagine a sleeping bag, but that you can also put over your pillows, and you go inside it so you don't touch anything.
So you're telling me I have to sleep in a sleeping bag?
But it's very thin. Like, it's not snug like a sleeping bag. It just protects your sheets. It's too much effort. Every time I've had it done, which is twice actually in my whole life, I usually get it done in the morning. So by the evening I can wash it off. So I never had to worry about this.
Okay. Just hope you don't have a white leather sofa.
Okay, and moving on from spray tanning, could you please tell me more about the British beauty standards?
Well, it got me thinking. Okay, so I'm Indian. We are renowned for having quite a few. So being Indian, it got me thinking about beauty. Okay, and Miss World. Like, India's renowned for having quite a few Miss Worlds in their time. And then it got me thinking, because we were talking about Britain's Next Top Model and like British beauty standards. And I was like, has there ever been a British Miss World? There has. But not recently.
Really? Okay.
Exactly, right? You're like, when? When was there ever but there has been. I think it's probably worth saying as well that there's been so many different kinds of these like competitions over the years, but it also got me thinking about, like, when we say a British Miss World, because we are such a multicultural society, our beauty standards are a complete mishmash of things.
So do you actually happen to know what the Indian beauty standard is? Because the question was, do you fit that standard?
Me personally, so in Asia, and this is you can probably say this as well, skin tone is, there's a premium on the shade of your skin. And that's tied to like a lot of, frankly, colonial remnants of the way that they, you know, classify society. But that hair, long, dark, thick, shiny hair. I think lips, we like kind of like bright, stand out, distinctive features. I think that's the thing, it'd be very distinctive features. Eyes, like we really play up eyes and eye makeup, and, you know, kohl, obviously. So yeah, I'd say there's nothing subtle about Indian beauty standards.
I mean, if you look at the more internationally known or, you know, recognized beauties from India, they look quite European.
But again, like I said, colonial overtures, right? Of what was considered desirable.
I think I used to say this to people a lot. So I think in the UK, not just to clarify, neither Neha and I are people who are particularly, I guess, vain about do people think we look good. I think we look good for ourselves and sometimes each other when we go for dinner. But I would say, you know, with that Asian element, I would say I'm considered okay attractive in this country.
Okay, Janice is being like very modest. What she's basically saying is she's very good looking.
Thank you, but that's not what I meant. I think
but you have all of the, like, of the things I just described, right? Like you would in your
this wouldn't apply though in Hong Kong, because in Hong Kong I'm not skinny enough, actually. Even though
you're very healthy.
I don't know where else,
apart
from cutting an arm off. I don't know how else to achieve that. Also, like, if you look at traditional Asian beauty, Chinese beauty, my eyes don't fit the ideal because they don't go up and they're not the right shape, because I've actually got quite round eyes. I do tick the box of having double lids, which is hilarious. I think I've told you before, I've had some people come and ask if I'd had surgery done for my eyelids, and I'm like, don't be crazy. But that's very highly prized in Asia.
Because it's a big thing, it's a big industry. We're not going to touch on it, but it's a big industry.
And I would actually say I'm not, just purely I'm not skinny enough. I think like my bum, which I've trained for, is not actually that attractive in Asia.
That's just different, like, but I mean, that's like different body standards.
Skinny.
I'm talking about, because that's the thing, right? People always say you can change your body, but not a face that easily. You can change your face too.
Yeah. But then when you have kids, the truth will come out.
Rude. So to wrap this episode up, I want to know, what has been your fashion peak and your fashion the worst fashion faux pas you think you've ever made?
I need a minute to think about this. Do you remember? So I'll mention the ones where we've been together. I think that's easier for us to reference to. Do you remember the Christmas party the year before where I wore this black, sparkly, long-sleeved maxi dress.
Yes.
With a thigh slit.
Yes.
I really like that because I'm a firm believer that you don't need to show everything and you can still, look pretty good. And I liked my hair that night. I remember I did a very deep side parting and had like those like really tiny braids done on one side to keep all the hair up. And then I had my hair like curled on the other side. So I think that was a pretty good look.
This is a very good look.
And actually, I regularly send you pictures of my work outfits. I feel like I've been quite on point this year so far. And the worst faux pas, I don't think I've had any while we've been together because obviously I make an effort to look nice. Typically, it would be pairing something cropped with trousers that are either not high-waisted enough or not low-waisted enough. And then you end up having this like really embarrassing bit around your gut. And then it just looks terrible. And then you spend the whole day pulling it down or pulling your trousers up. Yeah, usually it's that for me, or wearing dresses that are maybe a little bit too short, and then you feel so self-conscious the entire day.
I think that's just like
this thing did happen to me when I was a kid. It's not really a fashion faux pas, but it was hell embarrassing. So we had these really like short, those running shorts, like PE shorts.
Yes.
They're super short. And I must have been like 12 or 13. And we went for this outing and the bench was wet. So I put like a shopping bag, from a supermarket to sit on it. And then when I stood up, I realized that the red on the back has transferred to the back of my leg. So I just looked like I had an accident for the rest of the day. That was pretty bad.
That is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. It hasn't scarred you that much.
No.
Kind of.
And actually, it's slight sidebar, but I think I wish someone could fix this problem, but it's the legging camel toe. Like I know that Khloe Kardashian, I think, came up with a product for it.
Yeah.
But it's not easily purchasable here, I think. And it's just this constant worry I have when I go to the gym that it's going to happen.
I can't help you with that one. Chloe can.
It's just unavoidable sometimes. Like if you're squatting, like you're actually doing movements, it will ride up. And it's one of my least favorite things, but I will still swear by leggings. And how about you?
I mean, I'm a child of the 90s, so I feel like there were lots of questionable fashion choices, as evidenced by my childhood photo albums. The shell tracksuit, to name one. The matchy shell tracksuits.
Oh my God. I knew you already shamed me about those ones, but I had the Juicy Couture set.
So I've never sunk that low. I will say that. Nor have I ever worn Ugg boots.
Have you ever worn Crocs?
No.
Thank you.
No. Like I said. Yeah, I think those probably, but I mean, I'm sure there's some more recent ones that people would like the Monsters Inc. coat that you said. But I don't consider that a fashion faux pas. I just consider that part of my personality.
I really like, there's a blue floral dress you once wore to work. And it's a maxi dress. And it was very pretty, but I don't remember where it was from. And I also really like, you bought that dress with the sheer sleeves, the little black dress that
you
originally
called Morticia Adams.
Yes, I actually really like it on you. I think it's a good look.
I wore that to your birthday dinner. Yeah, I think I know which blue dress we're talking about. Yeah, it had a lot of flow to it.
I think blue is a good color for you.
Yeah, I do want a lot of blue. On that note, then, it's been fun. I feel like it's indulged all of our inner fashionistas.
I'm gonna tell listeners that we've always joked about having a massive mansion that's joined in the middle, so that we can just, share clothes, hang out, but also be private.
Yes. So it's like having a system with a shared wardrobe. That's basically what we are.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you subscribe and like and review on whatever platform you're listening to, and we'll be back next week.
Subscribe, rate and review on your favourite podcast platform, and follow us on Instagram at Culturally Speaking Podcast. You can also check out our website culturallyspeaking.co.uk for a transcript of this episode. Share your stories or your show ideas with us by sending us an email at theculturallyspeaking@gmail.com.